So welcome back to Phillip Island. I'm Nick Harris. Sitting alongside me, Matt Burt. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. And here is the grid for the 27-lap Australian Grand Prix.
65th pole position of Marc Marquez's career. He heads the front row from Cal Crutchlow and Pol Espargaro. Row 2, Aleix Espargaro, Jack Miller and Danilo Petrucci.
Row 3, Nicky Hayden, Stefan Bradl and Andrea Dovizioso. Round 4, Hector Barbera, Scott Redding and Jorge Lorenzo.
Row 5, believe it or not, yes, Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi, either side of Bradley Smith on the 5th row. Labadie, Hernandez and Bautista on row 6. Row 7, Hector Barbera's replacement, Mike Jones, the Australian, in 19th, ahead of Loris Baz and former Moto2 world champion Tito Rabat.
Well, the long wait is over. The wind, the rain, the cold that everybody's endured over the last 2 days is long forgotten, because one more sighting lap, one more warm-up lap, and the 2016 Australian Grand Prix will be underway here in Phillip Island.
Well, it was an absolute classic 12 months ago. Are we about to see a repeat? It will be crucial for the spectacle. 36,500 fans who've seen, well, pretty much everything here this weekend. Spring, summer, winter, autumn, and they braved it here in Phillip Island, and hopefully they're going to be treated to an absolutely cracking 27-lap MotoGP race. To put it down to Dylan, it looks like it's only the Hondas and the Suzuki riders, bar Nicky Hayden, as you said, have gone for that hard option front tyre.
Absolutely correct. The only person that changed back was Tito Rabat. Jack Miller made a very good point. It's only Cal Crutchlow and Marc Marquez who've actually tried that tyre properly this morning, but they did show that it works. They did put in a very good pace, especially Marc Marquez, but of course they will have to keep an eye out if the temperatures drop towards the end of the race.
And weather-wise, Dylan, certainly looks like there's plenty of blue sky about. It's just the temperature that we're in.
It is by far the warmest these guys will have had. I mean, this morning was a lot colder. The wind was an awful lot colder. That's probably the biggest change we have now. The sun's been on the track for quite some time, so now are the best conditions to be going racing. And if it does change, I'll obviously keep you guys posted, but do bear in mind we'll try and keep an eye out on the track temperature as the race progresses.
Many thanks, Dylan, down in pit lane. So here we go. The rain has stayed away. I think that's to the relief of everybody. Championship positions, well, it's all over at the front. Marquez is the world champion, but what a battle going on between Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo for second place in the championship. Teammates they may be, friends they are not. They will not be teammates next year.
Yeah, when you think about the likes of Jack Miller and the two Suzukis of Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales gambling somewhat by running that hard option front tyre. They've only done the sighting lap and the warm-up lap on that tyre. They're basing that judgment on the pace that they saw this man, Marc Marquez, set in the warm-up this morning.
So here we go, front row of the grid, Marquez, Crutchlow and Pol Espargaro. What about people from that second row of the grid? Stop Marquez racing away at the front. Aleix Espargaro certainly capable of it. So here we go, the 2016 Australian Grand Prix. 3 rounds to go, this incredible World Championship here at Phillip Island.
Cal Crutchlow got away very well from the middle of that front row of the grid. Will Crutchlow get the run down to line? Pol Espargaro, though, will get the whole shot. What a start from third place by the Monster Yamaha Tech 3. Man, it's Pol Espargaro from Marc Marquez. Crutchlow's back in 4th place with Aleix Espargaro now up in a 3rd.
Into the southern loop they come, so Pol Espargaro leads the way. Marquez closes up on him. Crutchlow in a big battle there for Aleix Espargaro through the southern loop up towards the Stoner corner, and Marquez very close, and Marquez perhaps fancies his chances at the hairpin on the very first lap.
Brilliant start by Danilo Petrucci on the Pramac Ducati. He's already picked up 3 spots into 3rd. Jack Miller was looking up the inside of a couple of riders going into the hairpin. Marquez leads though at turn 4.
Yeah, at the hairpin you can see he was closing up and thinking about it. There is Danilo Petrucci, Aleix Espargaro. We then get a good view of Jack Miller behind his great mate Cal Crutchlow, but Marquez leads the way. This is just not what the men that made bad qualifying wanted to happen.
Jorge Lorenzo's already up into 9th place. Rossi's picked up a couple of spots into 13th. There was obviously a technical problem for Loris Baz. He started the race from the pit lane down the hill into turn 10 for the first time. Marquez, Pol Espargaro, Aleix Espargaro has a look up the inside of Danilo Petrucci. He runs the Italian out a little bit wide, but Aleix Espargaro holds firm and takes 3rd place. Crutchlow also sweeps through on Petrucci. He got picked up there, Petrucci, coming through turn 10 and lost 2 places.
So the two Espargaro brothers, the younger one in second place, the older one in third place, but for how long? Because Crutchlow now on the rear wheel of Suzuki as they come down towards the Doohan corner first time round. Here is Aleix Espargaro, here comes Crutchlow on the brakes. Dano Petrucci determined to get back on Aleix Espargaro, not able to do so, but Crutchlow moves up into third.
Dovizioso using the grunt and the slipstream of that Ducati to move by Jack Miller on the run down to the Doohan corner. So Dovizioso's up inside the top 6. He holds firm on Miller through the southern loop. Marquez leads then from Pol Espargaro. Pol Espargaro led a Premier Class Grand Prix for the first time in his career on the early lap here.
Rossi in 14th place when they crossed, 13th place when they crossed the line, and Lorenzo in 8th.
Lorenzo's out horribly wide at turn number 4. He was trying to make a move on Jack Miller. He almost dropped back behind Nicky Hayden as well. So Lorenzo just perhaps getting a little bit impatient, struggling to stop that factory Yamaha with a full fuel tank going into that tight hairpin at turn 4.
Not a great start by Maverick Vinales. He was in 11th place when they crossed the line.
Loris Baz has had to retire from this Grand Prix, or he certainly entered the pits. It's been a nightmare for the Frenchman.
Up over the top of Lukey Heights they come. Marquez at the front. Pol Espargaro, Cal Crutchlow, Aleix Espargaro, Petrucci. Jack Miller fights back against Andrea Dovizioso. Just runs it a little bit wide, and Dovizioso retakes that 6th place.
Yeah, to make the move, he had to just run in a fraction hotter. Andrea Dovizioso's too wide and too canny for that. Swept brilliantly back up the inside. Marc Marquez has already started to stretch the field out here at the front. Marquez comes over the line to complete lap number 2. A 1:33.24 for Marquez. His lead is already up to nearly 7/10 of a second.
Vinales and Rossi fight it out for 10th place as they go across the line. We arrive with Valentino Rossi closing up on Maverick Vinales. Fastest lap, 1:33.24 for Marc Marquez. It was the start that everybody dreaded, wasn't it?
Vinales was out way wide at the southern loop as he tried to find a way through on Nicky Hayden. Here's the two 2017 factory Yamaha teammates, Vinales and Rossi, having a pretty good fight. Confirmation there that Loris Baz is out of this Australian Grand Prix. Jack Miller was well wide coming through the Stoner corner there.
Here is Jack Miller through turn 4 up towards Siberia. It's Jorge Lorenzo in front of him. Through Siberia they come. Rossi has got in front of Maverick Vinales and now closes up on his old teammate at Ducati, Nicky Hayden.
Marc Marquez now leads this Australian Grand Prix on lap number 3 by over a second. He's checking out at the front of this race as the new world champion.
It's a good battle though between Hayden, Rossi and Vinales.
Guys, just to confirm, with Loris Baz, it was an electrical problem and his second bike wasn't ready as it was being converted to wet.
Yeah, Rossi through on Hayden then at turn number 10, so Valentino Rossi up inside the top 10 for the first time in this race. I think Vinales also got through, Nick, didn't he, on Nicky Hayden, so Nicky Hayden's getting a little bit beaten up in the early exchanges. 24 laps to go and Marc Marquez crosses the line. He crosses the line, the advantage almost 1.5 seconds. Yeah, Marquez has already dipped into the 129s, a 129.830. Pol Espargaro's coming under real pressure here from Andrea Dovizioso. It's Cal Crutchlow in third place on the LCR Honda. Good battle this for second place. It is, because Aleix Espargaro's right behind Cal Crutchlow, so he's sandwiched between the two brothers. The younger one, Pol, chasing his first ever podium in a MotoGP. They close up for turn 4 and they remain in station. We ride with Cal Crutchlow as they come up through Siberia. Marc Marquez is already through there. There is Andrea Dovizioso on Jorge Lorenzo. Yeah, Rossi's through on Jack Miller. So Valentino Rossi's now up into 8th place. Maverick Vinales now all over the rear tyre of Jack Miller, the Australian, the 21-year-old. Looks like Cal Crutchlow was making a move on Pol Espargaro through turn number 8. Couldn't quite find a way through, but Crutchlow's ever so close. Is he close enough to attack the Tech 3 Yamaha man down into turn number 10? Not this time around. Tries to pull back, but he's on the outside. Can he get up the inside at turn 11? Not an easy place to overtake it. Aleix Espargaro on his tail as well. Now there's two frighteningly fast left-handers that bring him onto the Garden Straight. He's got up the inside Crutchlow. Cal Crutchlow moved into second place. Can they slipstream him as they come down the Garden Straight into the Doohan corner? And can Aleix Espargaro get through as well? Almost 3 abreast as they come into Doohan. last time around. Aleix Espargaro's gone into second place, using the slipstream perfectly. On the last lap, Marc Marquez was a full second quicker than the rest of the field. He has long gone into the distance. Marquez leads this Australian Grand Prix by 2.5 seconds. He did a 1:29.8. No other rider as yet in this Grand Prix has been able to duck into the 1:29s. Pol Espargaro and Cal Crutchlow were a second off his pace.
Going to be a hell of a battle, though, for second place. Aleix Espargaro leads the way into turn 4. We ride with Cal Crutchlow, Pol Espargaro right in there. Danilo Petrucci having a great ride. And Valentino Rossi is closing on them all the time. And we see Andrea Dovizioso running at the moment in 6th place. So Rossi has now actually got past Danilo Petrucci, I think.
Back with this battle for second place. It's Aleix Espargaro from Cal Crutchlow as they start the rise up through to Lukey Heights. Dovizioso's coming right back into podium contention here. The gap between Dovizioso in 5th and Valentino Rossi in 6th place is 1.4 seconds. Lorenzo's taken 7th back from Petrucci.
We ride with Cal Crutchlow. It was an audacious move on Pol Espargaro on the previous lap. Got up the inside as they came through that final corner into the Gardner Straight. Will he try it again? Here is Valentino Rossi. Rossi running in 6th place.
Marquez over the line then to complete lap number 5, and again he's in the high 1:29s, 1:29.916. Nobody able to get within 0.4 of a second of him. Crutchlow can't find a way through in the slipstream down to the Doohan corner. Nothing wrong with the top speed of that factory Suzuki.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. You'd bet your house on Crutchlow going through then out of the slipstream. He didn't get through. Through the southern loop they come. Named, of course, well, the next corner after Casey Stoner, 6 times winner here. Great to see Dovizioso ride the Ducati through there. Perhaps not quite in the same style as Casey Stoner used to. On the brakes once again, Pol Espargaro closes up on Crutchlow. Crutchlow in turn closes up on Aleix Espargaro, but they remain in the same positions. And all the time, Dovizioso and particularly Valentino Rossi are closing. This is going to be a hell of a battle for second place.
Maverick Vinales just took 7th place from Jorge Lorenzo at turn number 4. But the gap to Valentino Rossi is already up to almost a second. Last time around, Valentino Rossi was the second quickest rider on the track. He did a 1:30.087. That was just a 1/10 of a second behind Marquez. So Rossi's got podium pace, but starting from 15, he just gives himself a mountain to climb. Crutchlow up in a second.
Yeah, at the bottom of the hill, turn 10, the old MG corner. Cal Crutchlow gets up the inside of Aleix Espargaro. Can he hang in there? We will find out through these 2 fast left-handers that bring him onto the start and finish straight. And Crutchlow has already opened up a little bit of an advantage on Aleix Espargaro. Marquez crosses the line.
Almost 3 seconds. We said about Valentino Rossi being the man on the charge. Well, Rossi's just dropped into the 1:29s. Rossi's just on the best lap of the race, a 1:29.795. So Valentino Rossi is coming right back into contention for this podium position. He's now just 0.7 of a second behind Andrea Dovizioso and Pol Espargaro. He's closing rapidly, coming out of the southern loop.
Yeah, Dovizioso has now got past Pol Espargaro, who led the way on that Tech 3 Yamaha through the Stoner corner. Crutchlow, Aleix Espargaro, Dovizioso, Rossi now right on the rear wheel of Pol Espargaro. We ride with Valentino Rossi.
Well, Rossi was a second a lap faster last time around than Pol Espargaro. He's going to make mincemeat of those guys in front of him if he can carry on with this rhythm, because Rossi is the fastest man on the track right now.
They run along the top end of the circuit through turns 8 and 9, then up over the rise, Lukey Heights. They plunge down towards turn 10. Is Rossi close enough to have a nibble at Pol Espargaro as they come down towards turn 10?
Yeah, you bet he is. Classic turn 10 move on the brakes by Valentino Rossi. Pol Espargaro's not giving it without a fight, but Rossi's through. Rossi then up into 5th place.
Now he's got Andrea Dovizioso on that factory Ducati on his side, through the 2 lefts, onto the Gardner Straight. The man with the pace, the familiar number 46, Valentino Rossi. What would have happened if he had qualified better? Marc Marquez has disappeared. 2.8 seconds up on Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah, pace is hotting up. Cal Crutchlow's got nice temperature in that Michelin half front tire. He's just putting the best lap of the race, a 1:29.731, and Crutchlow is already starting to stretch away from Aleix Espargaro in 3rd. The gap between the pair up to 0.7 of a second.
Well, we now ride with Andrea Dovizioso in his face, that familiar number 46. And now we ride with Valentino Rossi. They come through the Stoner corner, up towards turn 4. The hairpin comes Rossi on the brakes, and he's got through on Dovizioso. Valentino Rossi has now moved up into 4th place.
Brilliant charge through the pack by Rossi. He started this Grand Prix in 15th place. His worst qualifying since 2011. Worst qualifying in 5 years for the Italian, but he's the man on the charge.
Brilliant stuff from Rossi.
It's 7/10 of a second behind Aleix Espargaro, but he's
always
right in the
forgotten
groove.
this man at the front, haven't we? Marc Marquez, the gap between him and Cal Crutchlow, 2.7 seconds. So Crutchlow has pulled back a 1/10 of a second, but he looks pretty comfortable. There's Crutchlow, looks very comfortable in 2nd place, but he'll be keeping an eye on the progress of Rossi, won't he? He was setting these fast laps. Well, Crutchlow has matched them now.
And these two will be very wary about a drop in temperatures. Marc Marquez was almost 5 seconds clear in 2014 when he crashed out of the Grand Prix. And Cal Crutchlow was running in 2nd when he too crashed. So we know that the temperatures will drop. And those two, well, they know how they can be caught out. Cal Crutchlow's flying another fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.494. He was almost 4/10 of a second faster than Marc Marquez. The problem is, Marquez has been able to establish that lead of over 2 seconds, and you can't really see him surrendering it.
You know that he can probably up the pace if he's got to. Rossi's picked off Dovizioso, he's picked off Pol Espargaro. Aleix Espargaro is next on the list of the doctor.
Again, he's hunting him down. Rossi took 3/10 of a second outside of Aleix Espargaro on the last lap. Very, very close now to the Suzuki rider because they come out of turn number 5, head down to Siberia.
He'd love to get a little bit closer as they come over the top of Lukey Heights and plunge down to turn 10, the old MG corner. He did it to his brother Pol. Pol Espargaro fought back bravely, but Rossi was not going to budge, and he may have a go this time around.
Yeah, don't think he's going to be close enough. He carries great corner speed though up through Lukey Heights, does Rossi. Can't see him attacking from that far back. No, there was no way through that Rossi could even think about a move on Aleix Espargaro. That would have been way, way too ambitious. So he sits in 4th place right now, piling the pressure though on Aleix Espargaro, who's still on course at the moment. Long way to go in this Australian Grand Prix. 18 and a bit laps to go. Aleix Espargaro is still on course for his first ever factory Suzuki rostrum, but not quite sure for how much longer that's going to last.
Over the rise they come, then they plunge downhill. Rossi in the slipstream of the Suzuki pulls out side by side. Rossi moves into front of Aleix Espargaro into 3rd place as they charge into the Doohan corner. Aleix Espargaro will fight back immediately, but Rossi holds the advantage through the southern loop.
Well, we know that Rossi's got the superior pace, so in theory now he should be able to break away pretty comfortably from Aleix Espargaro. We'll see what Aleix Espargaro's got in terms of a response. The gap to Rossi and Crutchlow in 2nd place is 1.8 seconds. Oh, Marquez has crashed out of the Grand Prix, just as he did in 2014. Marc Marquez has crashed out of the lead at turn number 4.
Would you believe it? Marc Marquez out of the race, turn 4. Twice in the last 3 years he has crashed out of the lead. We look at the crash once again. Front end, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, front end washing away. Ooh, it's a right-hander. It's a right-hander for Marc Marquez. That's what caught him out in 2014 as the temperatures dropped. The temperature, the right-hand side of that front tyre has cooled for Marc Marquez. He is down and out of the Australian Grand Prix. British rider Cal Crutchlow on the LCR Honda now leads by 1.8 seconds over Valentino Rossi.
Just when you think it's all over, it changes. This is going to be one hell of a fight between Crutchlow and Rossi. But he was using the harder option front tyre. Crutchlow is also on a harder option tyre. Crutchlow across the line, Rossi behind him. The gap 1.9 seconds as we ride with Rossi into the Doohan right-hander.
And who won the Grand Prix here in 2014 when Marc Marquez crashed out of the lead?
Valentino Rossi.
And he's come from 15th place on the grid. The gap now, Crutchlow actually just took a 1/10 of a second out of Rossi, so it's 1.9 seconds. But that's the warning signs for these riders, Nick. They've seen Marc Marquez throw it down the road at turn number 4. Dylan.
And I tell you what, guys, we haven't had sun for quite a few minutes now, and it is starting to feel a little bit cooler. So I wonder whether the track is just cooling a couple of degrees or so.
I can see Marc Marquez. He's standing watching the race unfold. He's just watching to see if anybody else goes down at turn number 4. And he's now turned round to head back into the paddock. It's the first DNF of Marc Marquez's championship winning career. He's been Mr. Consistency all the way through, but caught out by these slightly cooling conditions here in Phillip Island.
Rossi is slowly, very slowly but surely pulling back the advantage of Cal Crutchlow at the front. He's pulled back 0.2 of a second. Here is Crutchlow at turn 10. Rossi already plunging down to Lukey Heights.
Well, he's got time. 16 and a half laps to go for Rossi.
Take a big breath, everybody, because this is going to be something very, very special once again. And full marks to Crutchlow. He's pulled back a 10th on him through that third sector. But it is the worry of that time. We saw Lucio Cecchinello, the LCR team manager, former 125cc Grand Prix winner himself, looking up at the sky, checking just how the temperature was.
So can you believe it? Marc Marquez crashing out of the lead for the second time in 3 years here at Phillip Island. And Cal Crutchlow has managed to eke out a lead of over 2 seconds on Valentino Rossi now.
Let's tell you what else is going on. Keep looking at the screen, please, Matt. Aleix Espargaro third, Andrea Dovizioso 4, Vinales 5, Lorenzo 6, 7 is Jorge Lorenzo, 8 Scott Redding, 9 Jack Miller, 10 Danilo Petrucci, 11 Nicky Hayden, 12 Hector Barbara, 13 Stefan Bradl, 14 Bradley Smith, 15 Eugene Lafferty, 16 Yoni Hernandez, 17 Alvaro Bautista, Mike Jones going well in 18th place, and Tito Rabat in 19th. I think I missed out poor old Paul Espargaro there, running in 5th.
He is, but he's under real pressure from Maverick Vinales. We picked the 2 Spaniards up as they crest over the hill at Lukey Heights. Paul Espargaro desperately trying to defend. There's no way he can hold off Vinales. Vinales through then. That's 5th place for Maverick Vinales. He's come from 13th on the grid. I don't think that Vinales is going to get himself back into podium contention though, but who knows. There's plenty of drama left in this Australian Grand Prix. Here's the race leader, Cal Crutchlow. Let's track him and the gap to Rossi over the line. Cal Crutchlow is still in those 129s, a 129.7 from Crutchlow. 2.4 seconds now is the gap.
Let's have a look at the start of the race. It was a great start by Paul Espargaro from the outside of that front row of the grid. There he is leading the way. Marquez into turn 1, the Doohan corner, in 2nd place.
That was the start of Paul Espargaro's life. He must have dumped the clutch absolutely perfectly. On board with Maverick Vinales, riding around the outside of Hector Barbara. Paul Espargaro was almost 7, 8, 9 bike lengths clear of the field when they hit the brakes for Doohan corner.
14 and a half laps to go. Cal Crutchlow chasing just his 2nd ever MotoGP victory. Here they are through the Casey Stoner corner, this fast left. And Marquez closes right up on Espargaro, and he's going to get up the inside of him at turn 4. But turn 4 proved to be his demise. That's where he crashed, and here he is walking back.
Yeah, speaking of demises, Marc Marquez then out of the Grand Prix, crashing out of the lead at turn number 4. The first time he won't see the checkered flag this year. We're on board with him now. Tips it into turn 4. That hard option front tyre trying no more. Frustration and dejection for Marc Marquez. The World Championship, of course, already safe in this pocket, but here comes Cal Crutchlow, who's doing a great job of trying to win for Honda here in Phillip Island.
Well, there's 14 laps to go. The gap,
Rossi's not making any impression at all.
None whatsoever. In fact, he's just losing lost about a 10th there, didn't he?
Crutchlow took another 10th out of him, yeah. Paul Espargaro's getting a bit of second wind chasing Maverick Vinales. He's just put in a personal best lap of the race at 1:30.484. This is the battle for third between Aleix Espargaro and Dovizioso. 4 tenths between those two.
Back with Cal Crutchlow. It's a hard thing to say, it's for him to lose, but Rossi will keep that pressure up the whole time. Okay, at the moment he is dropping back, but Rossi will push on and push on and push on. Crutchlow will not be thinking about that harder option front tyre that we won't say was caused the demise of Marc Marquez, but it certainly could have been something to do with it. We look at Rossi as they go over the top end of the circuit, past the old Hayshed corner, up over the rise, down to Lukey Heights. The gap, it's pretty standard. It's about 2.5 seconds at the moment as Crutchlow brakes for turn 10.
There's a really good 6-rider battle going on for 8th place between Miller, Petrucci, Hayden, Redding and Barbara. Stefan Bradl also involved as well. That's a really good dogfight going on for 8th place. Danilo Petrucci currently is running in 8th. He's just taken that spot from Jack Miller.
Well, here is Valentino Rossi onto the Gardner straight. See what the gap is when they cross the line. It's gone up another tenth of a second through the third sector. When they cross the line, it's going to be a long hold of 13 laps for Cal Crutchlow, but he's opened up the advantage to 2.8 seconds now.
This is really impressive from Cal Crutchlow because he's still inside those 129s and quite comfortably, a 129.790. This is that exciting big battle going on for 8th place. It is Petrucci from Miller. Nicky Hayden doing a great job there inside the top 10. He's under pressure from Scott Redding. Well, that was Hector Barber very, very wide going through the Doohan corner. That's let Stefan Bradl through into 12th.
Well, there is Jack Miller. Game with that harder option tyre. The Suzukis have also taken the harder option front tyre. Vinales and Alessio Spargo are going very well at the moment. Alessio Spargo running third. Maverick Vinales fighting his way through the field up into 5th place. This is Petrucci with Miller right behind him through turn 4. Behind them you can see Nicky Hayden, that familiar number 69. Then Scott Redding.
Cal Crutchlow is pulling away. He's breaking Rossi. Big start here. The lead now is up to over 3 seconds for the first time in the race. Live championship standing. It's all pretty immaterial in terms of the championship, of course.
But very important though for second place in the championship.
Yeah. And Jorge Lorenzo struggling here. He's in 7th place. It's a very lonely 7th for Lorenzo. He's over 3 seconds behind Pol Espargaro and almost 6 seconds clear of Danilo Petrucci. Here's your race leader though, Cal Crutchlow, who was over 3 seconds clear of Rossi. Still in the 129s, Crutchlow last time around, 0.4 of a second faster than Rossi on that last lap.
There's absolutely nothing at the moment that Valentino Rossi can do. 12 laps to go, 3.3 seconds separate them. But in his battle for second place in the championship, it's good afternoon for him so far.
Well, it looked like the only man that could beat Marc Marquez in this race was Marc Marquez himself, and we saw what he did at turn number 4. And now with a 3.3 second lead, it looks like the only man that might be able to beat Cal Crutchlow is Cal Crutchlow himself. This is at turn 4 where he crashed on the very last lap in 2014 when he was heading for second place on that factory Ducati.
Great picture of Cal Crutchlow through this Stoner corner, 225 kilometres an hour on that LCR Honda.
Jack Miller's back into 8th place. He's got ahead of Danilo Petrucci. Petrucci tries to fight straight back at turn number 4. No way through though.
We're back with Cal Crutchlow. We have 11.5 laps to go. Dylan, weather-wise, there's a bit of blue sky about, certainly commentary box-wise. Perhaps even a little bit of sunshine.
None that we're really seeing from pit lane so much. Largely cloudy, guys. Do hold on because we're just about to talk with Marc Marquez in a minute or so.
Many thanks. Please put in soon as you get to him. We ride with Valentino Rossi. I'm not saying he's settled for second place, but I think he feels that second place in 20 World Championship points when he started as far down the grid as he did on the 5th row of the grid will not be a bad afternoon's work. But this is a masterclass from Cal Crutchlow. Has this man grown into a really top class Grand Prix rider?
Well, he's just taken another 7/10 of a second out of Crutchlow on lap number 16. The gap now is extended to 3.9 seconds. Rossi under no real pressure in second. Alessio Spargo is almost 2 seconds further back in 3rd place.
Petrucci crosses the line. Still a good battle with Hayden and Redding behind him. Jack Miller, Matt said, is up into 8th place. Lorenzo running in 7th. Pol Espargaro in 6th.
Alessio Spargo can't shake off the attention of Andrea Dovizioso in that battle for the final podium spot. Maverick Vinales is edging ever closer to that battle for 3rd. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Dovizioso now.
Then we had a good look there at Stefan Bradl on the Aprilia, also having a good ride. He's on the outside there.
Oh, brilliant by Nicky Hayden, the inside of Redding and Jack Miller.
It looks like also that Scott Redding may have got through on Jack Miller as well. Dylan.
Guys, I'm just going to have to butt in. I'm down here with Marc Marquez now. Marc, such a shame you were leading by such a big margin. First of all, we need to ask, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. First of all, I want to say sorry to the team because I did the mistake. I brake too late and inside of goal, little bit wide. I tried to keep the line and I lose the front. But I was taking a lot of risk for trying to push from the beginning. But in the end, we must be happy because we won the title. But of course, we would like to win more races.
And you don't think that the harder front tyre or the cool temperatures had anything to do with it?
This season I was very careful on the brake points. DCP I tried to forget, but Michelin tires are always critical, but this time was not for the tire, was not a mistake, or was just my mistake. So I want to say sorry to all my team.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Well, you can't be fairer than that, can you, Matt?
No, self-inflicted then. Valentino Rossi's just made a mistake in the braking zone at turn number 4. So Valentino Rossi just giving more precious time to Cal Crutchlow. You can see there, Aleix Espargaro and Dovizioso. That gap's come down to Rossi after he made that mistake at turn number 4.
Could that battle for second place suddenly become a battle with 3 riders? Can Aleix Espargaro and Andrea Dovizioso put some pressure on Valentino Rossi? Here you go, here is the mistake.
Yeah, you just wonder whether Valentino Rossi, with that soft option front tyre, just abused it a bit too much as he tried to find his way through from 15th place on the grid. Yeah, Marc Marquez pretty brutally honest as he always is. Of course, he's got himself into a position where he can take risks, throw a bit of caution to the wind, having already wrapped up the World Championship. So yeah, big mistake, and it ends his perfect point scoring record now in the MotoGP World Championship. How much time did Rossi lose then with that mistake at turn number 4? Track him over the line now. And he lost a full second as Dovizioso takes third from Aleix Espargaro. The Ducati man strikes, using the grunt of that Ducati down the Gardner straight. So Andrea Dovizioso now is leading the charge against Valentino Rossi, and Maverick Vinales is coming right back into this battle for third place. He's only 0.8 of a second now behind his teammate.
Will it be a battle for second place? Still well over 8 laps to go as they come through the Stoner left-hander down towards the hairpin that was the demise of Marc Marquez, and we saw Valentino Rossi make a mistake there on the last lap, and Maverick Vinales is right on the rear wheel now of his teammate Aleix Espargaro. Battle for third at the moment. It could even be a battle for second.
Yeah, Vinales has got much the faster pace than the 2 riders ahead of him on track. We're on board with him powering out of Siberia. Last time around, Vinales was half a second faster than Dovizioso, 7/10 quicker than Aleix Espargaro.
Andrea Dovizioso just one podium finish in the MotoGP class here at Phillip Island. Had a great ride in Japan where he finished in second place. Aleix Espargaro is certainly not let it get away, but Maverick Vinales is closing on the pair of them very, very quickly indeed. Great onboard stuff with Dovizioso, with Aleix Espargaro, and he just got a glimpse there of the red number 25 of Maverick Vinales over the rise onto the Gardner straight. Crutchlow has already crossed the line. Rossi across the line now. The gap, would you believe, 5.8 seconds between Crutchlow and Rossi.
Yeah, Rossi has regrouped after that mistake last time around at turn number 4. Straight away, he was able to take 0.3 of a second back on this chasing group, which is now a 3-rider fight for third place between Dovizioso and the 2 factory Suzukis of Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales.
Through the southern loop they come up towards the Stoner corner. 2 Suzukis beginning to hound the Ducati. Vinales, you fancy might try and get through here at turn 4. We ride with him. 2 Suzukis run together. Aleix Espargaro will not give in and still holds on to a fourth place, sorry, as they chase Dovizioso and third.
Scott Redding's got himself to the front of that great battle going on for 8th place. He's ahead of his teammate Petrucci, Miller, Hayden, Stefan Bradl, Hector Barber, and Bradley Smith's coming back into it as well. It's now a 7-rider fight for race, so great ride by Smith as Aleix Espargaro's lining up Dovizioso on the brakes at turn number 10. That's brilliantly done by Aleix Espargaro. He set that up superbly coming through Lukey Heights. Classic block pass at turn number 10, and Espargaro then back into third.
So sandwiched between the 2 Suzukis now, Andrea Dovizioso. Espargaro on the podium once again.
Cool, Dovizioso's nearly tripping Vinales up. Look at the corner speed through the final turn that Suzuki carries compared to the Ducati.
But now it's the grunt of the Ducati. Can he get any sort of slipstream? And here comes Dovizioso. The Ducati just purrs past the Suzuki into the Doohan corner. So he's back into third place. Of course, what this is doing, it's not giving him the chance to get away, but keep that gap nice and easy for Valentino Rossi.
It's going to be so demoralising when you're Aleix Espargaro. You've got to do all the hard work, take the risk in the corners to make the overtakes, and Andrea Dovizioso comes by you like he's on a MotoGP bike and you're riding a Moto3 bike. The top speed of the Ducati is unbelievable. Here they go then, Aleix Espargaro through again at turn number 4, and as Maverick Vinales also come through, he has, you know, well, not quite. Dovizioso fights back at Siberia.
It was Speedway there, wasn't he? Opened the door for his teammate as well, but full marks to Andrea Dovizioso. He didn't let Vinales through, but Aleix Espargaro back into third place. Vinales all over the rear wheel of the Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. Up through turn 8 they come, past the old hay shed, up to the top of Lukey Heights.
Espargaro has got to try and break away from Dovizioso to break the slipstream down the straight, because we've seen the Ducati will just blitz by him. It will tear the blue paint off that Suzuki if he can get in the slipstream. Here is Rossi then, still in a fairly comfortable second place. Talking about comfortable, here's the race leader Cal Crutchlow, who's 5 seconds or more clear of the field.
Rossi crosses the line now. Here they come once again. Here comes to the Ducati, and it just blasts past like a jumbo jet, like that plane that flew over here earlier, past the Suzuki of Aleix Espargaro. Yeah. He's back at him. He's like a terrier, isn't he? He's back at him straight away, and he retakes third place through the southern loop.
And Aleix Espargaro coming out of the last corner onto Gardner Straight. They've got 7 or 8 bike lengths on Dovizioso coming out of that final corner, but it didn't matter. The grunt of and the top speed of that Desmos Adidas GP machine is just far, far superior. Nothing Aleix Espargaro can do about it at all.
It's a difficult man to overtake on the brakes, isn't he, Andrea Dovizioso? Maverick Vinales really lined him up there at turn 4, but he couldn't get by.
Look at the top speed of Dovizioso. He set the fastest top speed in this race, 340.3 kilometres. That's 211 miles an hour. Didn't even see the Suzukis in the top 5 on the speed charts. That's why Andrea Dovizioso can just wait till he gets on the Gardner Straight, wind the power back on, open the throttle, and blitz by Aleix Espargaro. He's coming under attack though from Maverick Vinales. Vinales safely through at turn number 10. That's nice by Vinales. He's now up in the 4th.
Well, they're going to try and make life a little bit more difficult. He's got 2 Suzukis to get past when he blasts onto that front straight. There will be 5 laps to go when they cross the line. So Vinales now chasing over his teammate Aleix Espargaro. There is Dovizioso on the Ducati.
Yeah, Dovizioso, of course, is on that Michelin soft front tyre. Just wondering if he's running out of grip. Vinales, well, he's just picked off Andrea Dovizioso for 4th, and straight away he wastes no time in taking 3rd place from his teammate Aleix Espargaro. He's a little bit wide at the Doohan corner though. Aleix Espargaro will have the line. Will he at the southern loop? Yes, he does.
And the Ducati of Dovizioso closes right up on the pair of them. So they go into the Doohan corner. They're through the southern loop now. Coming out to the Stoner corner. Will Vinales try and get up the inside on the brakes at turn 4? He pulls across to the inside of the track. They're both on the brakes together. Here comes... Aleix Espargaro's gone.
Carbon copy crash of the one that his brother had when he was fighting for the podium 2 years ago. Frustration and dejection for Aleix Espargaro. Down the road he goes at turn 4.
And now there are 2, and those 2 are fighting for that final place on the podium. It's Maverick Vinales and Andrea Dovizioso. What a great ride by Aleix Espargaro. What a brave ride. He didn't deserve to go down so close to the finish.
Yeah, he was pushing hard, was Aleix Espargaro. Just wonder whether maybe that was a temperature issue, or whether he just got a little bit in a fraction too hot, grabbed the front brake on too hard, a little bit like Marc Marquez. He was braking in quite a straight line when Aleix Espargaro, and the front end washed out from underneath him.
This is Cal Crutchlow. He will cross the line. There will be 4 laps remaining. Can he secure his 2nd ever Grand Prix victory? Rossi crosses the line. Well, it really is a case of just Crutchlow finishing the race, because he's 6.5 seconds up on Valentino Rossi. Can Vinales make any sort of impression on Valentino Rossi?
No, he's 2 seconds back. He's going to run out of time here, Vinales. The last time around they both did 1:31.2s. Crutchlow still in those high 1:30s. It's not been just his speed for Cal Crutchlow, it's been his consistency. League of his own as he comes through turn number 4 on lap number 24.
Let's just have a little look down the field then. Obviously that's the top 4. Then 5th is Paul Espargaro, 6th Lorenzo, 7th Redding, 8th Petrucci, 9th Miller, 10th Hayden, 11th Bradle, 12th Barbara, 13th Smith, 14th Bautista, 15th Hernandez, in 16th place Lafferty, and Jones in 17th place. And Tito about to cross the line in 18th.
This is that 7 rider fight as it is now, with Bradley Smith latched onto the back of this group. You see Nicky Hayden up the inside of Jack Miller at Siberia. So Hayden's into 9th.
Great to see that number 69 on the Repsol Honda bike, isn't it? Memories of 2006, of course, when Nicky Hayden won the World Championship on the Repsol Honda. And a good ride, a brave ride again by Bradley Smith, still recovering from that serious knee injury. Here's at the back of the group. There's Stefan Bradl in front of him.
Crutchlow, Rossi, Vinales and Dovizioso have already started their 25th lap. Lucio Cecchinelli, you can see in that box at the top left-hand corner of your screen, you can barely watch. Crutchlow 2 3/4 laps away from a famous win here in Philiph Island. Vinales did take a couple attempts out of Rossi last time around, but Rossi's surely not going to give up a 1.9 second advantage with just 3 laps to run.
This is the battle for 7th place. We're back though with Maverick Vinales running in 3rd. Can he close it down on Valentino Rossi? Time is running out for the 21-year-old Spaniard. He is a race winner here in Moto2, second in a Moto3 race as well. And you can see Rossi over his left shoulder as they come out of Siberia. Coming out of Siberia means there's 2.5 laps to go of this Australian Grand Prix. Yeah, he's just not pulling back in fact, Rossi's just pulled back a 1/10 of a second on him.
Yeah, Maverick Vinales took too long to get into the podium hunt. A couple of great rides here, though, of course, with Rossi coming from 15th, Vinales 13th. They'll be ruining that qualifying yesterday because they would have felt that they might have been able to run away with Cal Crutchlow and Marquez had they qualified a little bit higher up the grid. Crutchlow's about to come over and start the penultimate lap of the Australian Grand Prix, and he will do so with a massive advantage. Hector Barbera's crashed out of that battle for 7th place. Barbera's down at Siberia, turn number 6.
We ride with Maverick Vinales. There is the gap, 1.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 2 laps to go. There is Hector Barbera. Of course, has ridden the factory Ducati for the last 2 races, replacing Andrea Iannone, and has crashed in the last 2 races, although he did get back on in Japan and finish the race.
Looks like Vinales has finally broken Andrea Dovizioso's resolve in that battle for 3rd place. You can quite clearly see now that gap's increasing all the time. It's up to almost 8/10 of a second now between Vinales and Dovizioso. Crutchlow through Siberia then for the penultimate time.
1.5 laps left for Cal Crutchlow. Can he take his 2nd ever Grand Prix victory on that LCR Honda? Valentino Rossi, what an amazing ride by him.
My heart was in my mouth there. I thought I saw a bite bit. I thought blimey, Cal Crutchlow hasn't made a mistake. Oh, dearie me.
Here is Crutchlow. He is perfectly okay.
The old ticker skipped a beat there. Oh, Nicky Hayden's gone down at turn number 4, and the way he's gesticulating, it looks like he might have got a helping hand from somebody, because Hayden's crashed out of 9th place at turn 4.
This is Crutchlow running along through these 2 left-handers that bring them back into the start-finish straight. Nicky Hayden perfectly okay in that hectic old battle for 7th place. Could be a sad end, though, to his MotoGP career. Crutchlow, 1 lap to go before his 2nd ever Grand Prix victory. Rossi should finish 2nd. What a ride by the 37-year-old. Oh, it's Miller and Hayden involved in the incident at turn 4.
Yeah, it was only Nicky Hayden, though, that crashed out. There's Jorge Lorenzo in a very, very lonely 6th place. He is almost 20 seconds behind the race leader, Cal Crutchlow. He's already coming through the 1st sector. We can see Crutchlow out of that commentary position.
You remember 2 years ago, this is where he went down when he was running 2nd in the race.
That could have
takes a big, big breath, and he safely threw up to Siberia.
That had commentator curse written all over it, didn't it?
It did. And you'd have told him, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Here's the incident between Miller and Hayden then at turn 4. Yeah, Miller wasn't a fraction too hot. He had to just run it a fraction wide, tangle with Hayden. Hayden came off the worst. Crutchlow then comes up through Lukey Heights, and Cal Crutchlow is heading for his 2nd Grand Prix victory of the season. His 2nd in the last 6 races. It was a long wait for British fans. 35 years since Barry Sheene won a Premier Class Grand Prix.
It's like a London bus. They're coming around every time you want them now after a 35-year wait. Into the Gardner corner for the last time. The 30-year-old Isle of Man resident, born in Coventry in England. Cal Crutchlow wins here in Australia.
2nd place will go to Valentino Rossi. A brilliant charge through from 15th on the grid for the Italian. Maverick Vinales takes the final podium spot after he came from way down the grid in 13th place. And
Fourth is Andrea Dovizioso, but he did drop back from that fight at the end.
Yeah, Polispargo comes home in 5th position. Here's Jorge Lorenzo, a very, very lonely 6th place for the triple MotoGP world champion.
Now who's going to win this battle for 7th place?
Scott Redding got it.
Oh, Bradley Smith up into 8th place on that last lap behind Scott Redding. 9th, Danilo Petrucci. 10th, Jack Miller. And 11th place, Stefan Bradl.
Lucio Cecchinello struggling to contain his emotions as he gives the reaction immediately to the TV crews.
That was some performance by Cal Crutchlow.
Absolutely brilliant ride by Crutchlow.
The Czech Republic, he broke that 35-year-old curse on British racing by becoming the first British rider to win, and now he's repeated the dose here in Australia. The Czech Republic, he broke that 35-year-old curse on British racing by becoming the first British rider to win, and now he's repeated the dose here in Australia.